I would have opened Raw with his segment.
Instead of opening with Paul Heyman, open with that dude.
Yeah,
with,
exactly.
with a belt on each shoulder. You definitely catch my. I'd have been glued in on that. What?
Exactly. Isn't that what they used to do, man? Wasn't the opening of fucking Raw so? And now I'm going back to Nitro Raw days.
Yeah, and see, it's a completely different animal. Yeah. When you're booking against a competitor, it's completely different than booking against absolutely. Well, I mean, Raw has to go against Monday Night Football. So when I watch Raw, I watched all of Raw this week. It was more wrestling than I think I've ever seen on a 3-hour show that they've done. And maybe it just appeared that way. Maybe because the Usos were in 13 segments.
Yeah.
But
they run on the field on Monday Night Football if you switch channels. I don't know if you thought that. Yeah,
they ran back a punt for a touchdown.
Exactly.
No, it was just there was so much, and I think that you almost have to book it as if you put a bunch of talking and shit like that, man. Like somebody's gonna flip and see what the score is,
but I wouldn't. I don't know. I would never have turned off an NWO segment when you guys were talking in the ring. I knew nobody was getting hit for 10 minutes when you guys went to the ring, but I didn't change the channel.
But it was NWO was pop culture.
It can't be recreated today?
I don't think so. It's just kind of like the Mike Douglas show. You couldn't do the Mike Douglas show today.
Lawrence Welk, perhaps?
I mean,
some bubbles?
You might be able to pull off Paul Snyder. I don't know.
Tom Snyder.
Yeah. Tom Snyder, yeah. Tom Snyder. Carson, they'd always come back, and Carson would doing
yeah.
Get back to Snyder, he'd be like this.
Yeah.
It's 1:30. Fuck you.
Yeah, that shit was wild when they would smoke on camera. But to get back to Raw, so is there no reason to start hot to hook me from the beginning and make me invested in a significant storyline that you're going to advance? All right, so this week they opened with Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns, very small Roman Reigns promo. And then I think we were right into the tag team, right?
Right.
Street. What the hell?
Street Profits and that.
Street Profits, right?
And the Asian kid.
And yes, and so
who got beat?
There's an emptiness to that open. Shouldn't you front load the show still? Why? I understand there's no competitor. There's no Nitro.
I think what happens though is it's almost like they filled that to bring out like to bring out AJ and his crew, to bring the Us, like it's almost like they almost have matches instead of where they would used to talk to bridge, they actually have action, and they bridge the action with another piece. And then out of nowhere, AJ comes flying in after they did the run in, and it gets to me at the 10 o'clock hour. I think it was around 10 o'clock. I'm not sure. It may have been before that, but they had the ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know that I don't particularly want to follow a ladder match. But then you're putting a tag match at the end, but you had it just, I don't know.
You don't have to put the ladder match at 9 o'clock, but I mean, it could still close the show, but can't you open hot with something related to the ladder match? Not just a casual reference to it. And I'm not saying that this happened this week. I'm just saying I watched this week, and that's what I was thinking about. And it hasn't happened for a while. But I still think that front loading the content, it happens in books, movies. You gotta hook somebody in those first few minutes, and the product isn't doing that anymore. And I'm just wondering why. Is it only because there's no competitor? Do they not want the casual fan? They think, oh, it's the same people every week, so they'll hang for 3 hours.
So, okay, so wait, what would you have started?
Now I know I heard a jazz ensemble in your room just now.
Yeah.
T's laugh is in question, but I know that Buddy Rich, the ghost of Buddy Rich, is there hitting the cymbals.
Well, we did mention Carson, so he was a regular. On
He
Carson,
was.
So
Buddy Rich was so fucking badass.
remember when he used to play? He'd go.
With,
He'd always do it with his mouth. He'd go,
he was ferocious.
yeah. Not a handsome man.
Yeah, but that's not the yardstick they used back then.
No,
Different yardstick.
He was throwing. He could bang those sticks. I was wondering if he could bang all three.
I think I have a good stiff one of the week for Buddy Rich. I'll find it. He's yelling at his band. I'll see if I can get that.
See, here we go. It says, did you read this on the?
Yeah,
bottom?
I'm looking at it now. If a show's 3 hours, they need to be building to the main event match from the start of the show and play it throughout the night. That's kind of where I'm going. Like carry me to that.
Well, tell me how the hell you didn't build it, the main event match any more than having the Usos in every segment before the main event.
In a compelling way.
I'm just,
you know what I'm talking about. Those opens with Austin's the glass crash, and he's going to be on the last segment. He's not getting in the ring back then until 10. Now I'm saying 9 o'clock start. I'm going with the old Raw 9 to 11. The glass would crash at 9:01, and he'd be in the.
You would rarely see. That's the difference, though. If they were going against nothing, then they would not. There was no way. I'm talking from Steve's perspective. There's no way that he would let them waste his pop for no reason. If he's going to go out at the end of the night and wrestle, if he's going, the only reason he's doing is they use Sable the same way.
Or but they do the thing where the car pulls, he walks in, they're following him into the building, that kind of thing. Something. Build me up to the end of the night. It's the pop shot. It's right. It's like fucking. It's exactly the same.
The Usos were beating somebody up in the back before that match.
Mm-hmm. Right. I guess I'm just not as excited about the Usos. I guess.
Well,
not that they're not talented. I'm just saying that I'm talking about the Austin thing.
They're the unified tag champs.
No, they are.
Sami Zayn looks like a young Fidel Castro. Ginger Castro.
Yeah. I guess I would just do it differently is what I'm saying. I would find there's a medium. All right, you don't have to do it. The pressure isn't on like it was in the Monday Night Wars days. But see, WCW, when you were in WCW, the 8 o'clock hour was whatever because they weren't up against Raw yet, right? So they'd have the luchadors come out.
Yeah, but that's what, so we did what they basically did on Raw. We gave action. And then there were times when Bischoff was at the announce table before, and he would be talking about the NWO throughout the matches because the matches from the cruiserweights were so good they could speak for themselves. You didn't have to call play by play.
But when Raw came on and you guys came to the ring, from 9 to 11, it was a well-oiled machine. I mean, you guys knew. I know a lot of changes at 6:30 p.m. when something didn't work for someone, brother, or whatever. But you guys knew come 9 o'clock, you had to be hot for 2 hours. I'm talking about the mostly the live stuff. I know when Raw was doing the taping, and they would start to give away stuff beforehand, or the Sheets would get their hands on something, what was coming. But when they were both live, it was so exciting. I don't know anyone that didn't flip back and forth. And you just left the TV on whatever was more compelling. And I don't know why you can't write and book with that urgency. Is it the talent? Do we not have the roster that we had in '97? Is that why?
No, I say it all the time. It's just like people say, well, who'd you like to work against? I'm like, I don't know. I worked against 20 Hall of Famers, in that era.
Yeah, that roster you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. There was 20 Hall of Famers in that and on that roster. So it's like, you tell me.
I just like that formula. I want to go back in time. I want to care about it again.
Well, that's like you saying baseball's too long. And when I was a kid, I couldn't watch enough baseball. Now it's, I can't watch baseball. I can't watch baseball until it's the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing too that that's tough to accept is when you're writing television and you want, all right, you need a confrontation.